Welcome to the Parasocial Room podcast with
Sarah and
Paula. This is us. This is our pause. This is where we two ladies are parasocial, and now you are too.
welcome. Come on in, take a seat.
Welcome. Come on in. Come
We
on
don't
in.
bite.
Definitely not yet. It's too soon. It's too soon.
No, not on the first episode anyway. Just exciting, Paula.
It's never
We're
what I
here
want.
finally.
Finally,
We are
we
recording.
took our time and it mattered.
Yes.
It really paid off. So
Yeah.
here we are. I'm ready to be so creative and so parasocial and talk absolute bollocks. So here we go.
Well, I learned from a very wise, tall, beardy Geordie man once that rushing isn't your friend, and just to slow the F down, because actually
It's where most
patience is a
mistakes happen.
virtue, and unfortunately, I don't like being proved wrong, and big, tall Geordie man being proved right, and he was right. So, I didn't want to rush because I wanted it to be when we both felt good and right and ready, and we are good, right, and ready. And today has been hectic, but happy. So
and I've just been sleeping.
Perfect. What is sleep? What is sleep? I don't know. I haven't had sleep since the 6th of January 2020 when my son was born. Sleep, forget that. I didn't sleep at all last night.
Oh, trust me, we'll have plenty that can relate to that. Apparently, there's a huge demographic out there who love listening to podcasts that are similar to yourself. So,
me included. I am a podcast lover. I do love a podcast. But I don't know about you, but I am picky in who I have in my ear rolls. I'm really picky, actually. Who do you tend to listen to when you want to like chill, relax? Who's the person that just yaps away in your ear?
Literally, I do like think of myself as such, like the creature of comfort, like whatever, like I suppose your own mom would teach you that if like, anybody that has like any sort of, can relate to this, any sort of relationship with their mom, I guess, can relate to this. She'll teach you like what her comforts are will become yours too. And because she's just that way, because if they're that way, and because she's that way, it's definitely instilled in me. Because we get on and we get on along well. So I listen, and I listen a lot because of that, because we're similar that way. And, but I kind of listen to the opposite, I'm quite introverted, and then my comfort space would have been, even from when I was younger, would have been, bright and colourful like Americans a lot of the time, and it was cartoons then, and that kind of transformed because we'd rely more on podcasts. Now it's podcasts, so it's Brittany Broski, it's Trixie and Katia, who we both are obsessed with. It's Trixie herself, whatever podcast she's on. It's Drew, who's even louder than Brittany, who's her friend. It's these really LA like central people, I'll be honest. But I've been trying to get into like much relevant to my culture as well.
Yeah.
Like we talk a lot about Blind Boy. Like we both like Blind Boy, and he's really cool.
Yes.
Really into Irish folklore and that kind of thing.
Blind Boy,
So
I think he's the perfect podcaster, but also freaking genius. The man is just incredibly intelligent. And then, does talk about a lot about Irish folklore, which I am obsessed by. History. There's so much I still don't know. And really, really intellectual conversation, but to the level where I didn't feel stupid, because I'm not very intelligent, I don't think. But and I get put off when I feel stupid. But he talks in such a way that not only does it melt your muscles and you just completely sink in, but he is a funny fucker. And however, but if you're trying to fall asleep, the problem is there are a few episodes when I was just drifting off to sleep, put this podcast on. I was like, okay, cool, fine. But then Blind Boy started to talk about Szechuan peppercorns. And every 2 seconds it was Szechuan peppercorns. And from that moment on, I was just absolutely peeing my pants laughing. And I was wide awake again. So there are some points where I do piss myself awake. But there was an
Well, that's an
episode
Irish
he
night
did.
out, honey. You just had the Irish night out
Yeah.
experience through
Oh God, I
one
love the Irish.
reference to something that
Yeah,
we barely even talk about.
I
That's why
know,
it's so
right?
hilarious.
Exactly. But he's
We're just at
definitely
that stage in the night where anything is hilarious and you just caught on.
yes, exact. That's before the dancing on the tables, in my experience. Um, but Blind Boy
She
is
goes there, she
definitely
goes there.
one. Yeah. Oh God, that's another episode. But going back to podcast, he's definitely, in my list of you have to listen to him some point in your life or try it at least. It's not for everybody, but
Yeah.
there, some of the episodes he does. An episode he did with Cillian Murphy, and
Oh,
then there was
wow.
another episode with
I'm definitely going to listen to
another
that. I didn't
lady.
know
I
that.
forget her name. She was a writer, and that was just a beautiful. It was about
Wasn't
Irish
Cecilia Hearn?
folklore.
No?
Yeah, no, not Cecilia Hearn. I'll look it up later on, if anyone is interested. But yeah, Blind Boy, definitely.
Yeah.
Other podcasts, Trixie and Katya,
Yeah.
obviously. They are my oxygen. Katya is the plasma in my veins, and I don't know what I would have done without Katya in my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I love Trixie, but anyone that doesn't know, who doesn't know Trixie and Katya, you should be ashamed of yourself to start.
If you don't know
However,
Katya, you know Trixie, really, like mainstream
yeah,
wise, honestly. You have to
exactly,
have
yeah,
seen at least one of them at this stage.
I know, preach. But
Mhm.
Trixie and Katya is one of the reasons why P and I are who the friends we are at the moment and
Yeah.
why we are so close. Because we're talking about podcasts, but some of you might have had a question of, well, how do you two know each other? One of you is from Ireland, one of you, it sounds like you're from somewhere in England, your accent's weird, love. Huh?
They
So
probably
maybe
think the
let's
same
just
about me.
do
They
the
probably
little,
think I'm going to be Scottish. Come on, they're going to think I'm Scottish. They're not going to pick up on Irish straight away unless I say it
no,
enough. They're
oh
not
no,
gonna.
Irish accent. So let's do like the getting to know you section that we can get
Getting
out
to
the way in
know
episode
you.
1 that feels like a job interview, but not because we're a little bit more interesting. So,
Mhm.
Paula, how
Yes, sir.
did you and I meet? And look, this is another good fact, guys. We've never met in person, ever. Face to face, hand to hand,
Hmm.
boob to boob, soul to soul. It's not happened yet in however many years. However, you are my best friend in heaven on earth and in dragon in wig forever. So, Paula, how did we meet? Pray tell, pray tell. How did we meet?
Can I just say from that, we encourage boob to boob, soul to
Mhm,
soul from here on forward
mhm,
for both of us because we've actually never met in person, but it
mm.
started virtually and it blossoms virtually
Yeah,
and continues to
beautifully.
and just advanced wildly forward when we really got into what we actually like, what we
Mhm,
individually
mhm.
like each
Yeah.
with each other, which is a long
Mhm.
time we come back to reality shows and Trixie and Katya and just art, really, to be honest. And we see art in a lot of things. We
Uh-huh.
really
Art.
relate
Mhm.
on that, and that's
Yeah.
what like
Mhm.
wildly advanced it and
Mm.
solidified it. I think
Uh-huh.
that's not just a superficial of it
No.
went from online to WhatsApp and
Mhm.
now it's more so
Mhm.
in person.
Mhm.
It just it started so simply, so it can start
Mhm.
as simply as commenting on a stream and
Mhm.
then someone tags on and it was that simple and then you're suddenly waiting because you speak to them enough, you're waiting for that
Mhm.
person to
Yeah.
comment and then they're
Yeah.
waiting for you and it's suddenly a
Mhm.
conversation and you're like, oh, but like that's someone else's life, but like
Uh-huh.
you know, if he was nice enough he's, let's be honest, he's going to be a guest. So, because
Uh-huh.
he's the reason for the
He is
season
the
of
reason
Parasocial
for
podcast.
this.
So,
Mm.
he's relatively chill now these days, but at
Oh
the
yeah.
time he did do
Oh,
commentary on the big the
us.
big dog of YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and you know we're much still sort of in that vein, so we'll discuss that with him. But he would basically just discuss the big dogs
Yeah.
of YouTube at that time,
Uh-huh.
and that really
Mm-hmm.
brought us
Oh yeah.
all together, really, and like solidified his little
United us.
community, you
He
know,
did. Mm-hmm.
united us really. And
United us. He
we're
was
so
the
comfortable now that we're just united in
yeah.
chilling together,
We
and that's
are his.
all he's about. And we're like, good
Yeah.
for you. He's done enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He is our, he's our daddy blossom, and we are his baby blossoms. To the cherry blossoms, and the cherry blossom babies are now taking his legacy and
Well, I
probably
mean, there's
doing a
evidence
shit
right
ass
there.
job of
She's
it.
more
But we're
parasocial
taking
than
some
me.
of his
So.
legacy and we're wandering down the river with it. He's probably going to come on here as our first special guest and go, "Oh God, what have I done?" But no, seriously.
Are you
Mike,
going to scream in paternal want for this man?
Daddy
I'm like,
Blossom.
well, yeah, he's the cherry blossom king. You're like, cherry blossom daddy.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, it was it was the time that we all like to forget that is COVID.
Mhm.
Lockdown
God, it was
one.
right on the cusp of
Lockdown
that. It
one.
really was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
around that time, and I was a new mummy. I had my son in January 2020. 8 weeks later, we're all locked away. I was
Yeah.
I do you know what? I handled it like a boss, and do you know what? I kick ass being a mum. That's for another day. Side note. Anywho, my
Yeah.
days were spent kind of trying to get my body into some kind of fashion where I could walk properly and, try to keep this little prawn alive that I'd just given birth to, who just wanted cuddles, quite frankly, all the time, and I wasn't complaining. But I needed to keep my brain alive, and I was really struggling for things. And obviously, at that time, we all were locked away from one another. We felt isolated. It was crazy. And YouTube was my go to. And literally, the stream came up, and I can't remember what exactly he was discussing. It was probably along the lines of Shane Dawson or
Yeah.
one of the dramas at that time that was happening. I'm not sure. So I was like, I'm in. And then I realised there was a chat function. So not only could I watch someone incredibly intelligent speak so eloquently and so logically and calmly about drama, um, but also he just had this wonderful way about him, and I liked it, and I wanted to
Yeah.
invest my time in it. And then the chat function was completely new to me as well, being some boomer at the
Same.
time. And that's how
Same.
I met my P. And no idea how we got started. We probably just were just chatting. Because if anyone, for example, we've known each other for years, but if someone were to look at our WhatsApp conversation, they'd go, "Do you have
How did you
conversations?"
get to
Because I
that?
think
What?
it is literally meme for meme for meme for meme for meme for meme for Rouge print that I want to put in my future house, for meme Trixie and Katia quote. It doesn't make any sense to anyone. But to you and I, it's like a language only we know, and only we could
Yeah.
probably quote at Mike, and even Mike could understand. So Mike
Yeah.
is Daddy Blossom, and Daddy Blossom is going to be right here very soon. And I can't wait for that episode. I'm so
I think,
excited.
were you there at that time where I can't even remember the context, but for some reason someone started calling him Pappy. And he was like,
Whoa.
maybe Pappy is better than Daddy. And he got really uncomfortable saying
He
it
got
himself. Then he
really
said, maybe it's
uncomfortable.
better.
No,
But
I'm
then he
not going
kept
to call
saying
him
it
Daddy
himself.
Blossom. Don't worry.
No, but he kept saying it himself. He probably like, oh my God, this is like nearly 10 years
Hmm.
ago. Come on. But like, it's like, but like, yeah.
Oh. I mean, he's just, again, isn't he just a wonderful human being? He is just,
Yeah,
he's
truly.
he's one of those people that I would protect with everything I have. I would
Yeah.
even shield him with my Trixie palette and my kimchi palette for him because that's how special he is. He he's just wonderful, and I'm not going to say much more because it's going to be a trip though, because you're going to have this like proper London woman, an Irish woman, and an Australian all in one podcast. It's going to be accent overload, but I can't wait. I'm really excited. So
I hope
that's
we're gonna
one
like
plan of
bring him to a
ours.
peak. Like he can speak and he speaks well, but he talks about
Uh-huh.
like he has like Irish family and he has English family, and you can hear
Yes.
the English in his voice, so
Mhm.
he really relates to that.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
I
when
love his
he hears like
accent. It's
two
amazing.
female, like, English
Mhm.
Irish voices coming toward him, I hope you do, Mike. I hope you're just like, I'm in fantastic company here, because that's what we want. We want
Yeah.
you, we
That's we.
welcome
That's
you
what we
in. It's
want.
like a little
Mhm.
family that you
Mm.
have by the time that you're here.
Exactly.
And of course, you can come back anytime. I'm going to say that straight away before you
Mhm.
even get here,
Mhm.
because, you're the reason for the season. So there you go.
That's how we felt with you. Like we felt welcome. I didn't feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel old. I didn't feel like I didn't belong. It was an instant thing of, oh wow, there's people like me here, and it's great. And oh gosh, I've made a friend for years, and
Yeah.
it's really special. And I would just want him to hear it from us. And I'm really, really pleased that he's coming on an episode because I don't think it would have felt right without having him on one just to talk. And
Mhm.
he is a fellow vinyl lover like me, and I see his Instagram stories and I get extremely jealous over his growing collection of
And you can both
records.
teach me a bit more about that, because that
Oh
confuses me
yeah.
so much. Like I've
Oh
been told
yeah,
that, oh, you can't get
absolutely.
any past the 70s. The ones in the 70s were the best. So you have to get a
Oh
press from the
yes.
70s, or else it's going to ruin your whole system. It sounds really
Oh
complicated. So
yeah.
I'm like, how are these
It
people
is
so
for
like,
sure.
and they're not absolutely
Hmm.
broke, but they just love the music,
Yeah.
and it's just you can come
Yeah.
together on that and teach me
Oh
more,
my
because I need
gosh.
to know
I
more.
mean, I'm gonna save that for that podcast, but yesterday
Yeah.
part of what I'm trying to do for me is try to establish a small business where I'm doing what I want. For me, I've
Hmm.
never done what I want for me ever. And so part of that is managing unsigned musicians or artists from any genre, but they have to, there has to be something. And I know when I see them, like today, I have been so blessed with meeting an artist on my FYP yet again, and there's going to be exciting stuff coming. And he's actually going to be on an episode promoting his new single very soon,
Mhm.
which I'm just planning today and heard today, but it's all been a whirlwind. However, one of my artists that I'm trying to work with, um, we're like literally foundation stage at the moment, and I'm trying to sort of muster up like any kind of inspiration creative. It is really hard when you're a creative person and you want to do something, but you are kind of like a stop of, "Oh, I don't know what to do," and your
Yeah.
head is so overloaded with, should I do this? People want to hear this, and da 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 da. Da. And you just need me, Miss Sassy Pants Bossy Boots, bowling in, going, oi, shut it, listen to me for a second, take it if you want, work with me if you will. If not, I wish you well. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So my
Yeah.
musician Rob, he is another acoustic guitar. However, I think we're finding that electric is his bone. And he had a bit of a rough week, as did I. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going in the garage. I'm currently living in my parents' house. Going in their garage. My dad has his vinyl LPs in there, all collecting dust. None of them are protected. That makes me nervous because I know there's some David Bowie in there. Didn't realise how much David Bowie was in there. and how valuable some of it was. So,
Mm.
oof, I'll have to post some of the pictures. I haven't done it yet. But I tell you when I got so excited because David Bowie is one of my heroes
Same.
who shaped the way I listen to music, the
Mm-hmm.
way I look at art, the way I appreciate artists, but
Yeah.
also their processes. I don't question if they have things that are not quote unquote normal. That's another day, another discussion. Won't start right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but when you get nostalgic about flicking through, you know, these album covers, I had the Ziggy Stardust cover, which is my all-time favorite album cover of all time.
Mm.
I'm gonna design some jewelry based on that album cover.
So cute.
So colors and stuff like that really speaks to me and like resonates. And then I get to the Diamond Dogs album. When I was little, and my dad had his vinyls like lent up against the wall, and I used to flick through because I used to like looking at all the pictures. No idea what was going on. The Diamond Dogs cover. I don't know if anyone. I'll put up a picture of it in
Yeah,
the
it's
edit
it's
to come up.
it's spacey. It's
Used
spacey.
to
It's
scare the
kind of
shit out of
demony.
me.
It's kind of it
Yeah,
doesn't fit a box. It
right.
really doesn't. Yeah.
And it used to scare the shit out of me, quite frankly.
It's a bit creepy. It is a bit
It
creepy.
is
Yeah.
creepy.
I
But
can
now,
appreciate it,
as
but
an
it's creepy.
adult, yeah, as
Yeah.
an adult, can appreciate it more, understand it. Gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit still. Wouldn't have it on the
Yeah.
wall. But it's interesting, like how you change your perception of something with. I'm not talking about age. Sometimes age, saying things with age is a load of bollocks.
I
But
think it's a
with life
maturity thing. Just
experience,
maturity
yeah,
on its own.
maturity, but
Yeah.
also, do you know what is a big turn on for me in people? Open-mindedness
Oh yeah.
and just
Oh
willing
yeah.
to at least try a perception or try
Mm-hmm.
an idea. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's one of my things. So,
Not just a way, not just someone else's way, not just your way.
no, I
There's
know,
an
right?
open way. There's an open way.
And
And the amount of teaching you
yeah,
have to do when someone doesn't think like that is
uh-huh.
a lot of the time too much. So you can just
Yeah,
sit
and
back and
sometimes I
enjoy
think,
more with them.
yes, enjoy it. And I think sometimes when you say teaching, I think sometimes people can't be taught. Sometimes it just has to be left and then you leave it with them. And if they want to come back with their thoughts and ideas, amazing, discuss.
Yeah.
I mean, my recent ex situationship, I mean, we used to have wonderful discussions about anything artistic. And
Mm.
he had a great way of making me see things from different perspectives. And I just think that's so important. You know, it's like with my son, for example, remembering to teach him about that kind of stuff. Um, it's you don't think about these things until you actually sit down and plan a podcast or journal or reflect, which I'm doing a lot of at the moment. And
Mm.
all of these things start bubbling up, and you think, wow, that's a lot of things I've learned. I'm quite proud of myself, actually.
Yeah.
I like who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not a bigot. I don't have perceptions or assumptions about people, races, genders, blah, blah, blah. Again, episodes we're coming down to.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really grateful that I was very fortunate. I think I had my upbringing was in Southwest London, so that meant I was not just around many different cultures, many different religions, ethnicities, um, genders, and sexual preferences. And at the time, Clapham Common, woo, go. If anyone loves Clapham Common, you know where you're at with the drag club.
Mm.
It's not Soho,
Mm.
you know? And I'm grateful that I had that exposure because now I've had life experiences and I don't live where I used to and I'm not around people that I grew up with. It still amazes me how narrow-minded and idiotic people are still in 2025.
Mm.
And that's what I kind of half wanted to do a podcast with yourself, P, because I think that I'm not coming on here to preach or educate. I'm just on here to, you know, sometimes talk a load of bollocks,
Yeah.
sometimes talk about my love for Danny Dyer and Alex Turner, and hope that they will listen one day and propose to me. And I'll say, of course, absolutely, let's go. But then hopefully we could have somebody on as a guest, and someone listens who might be struggling or have a question, and we can answer that
Mm.
question. And that really excites me, because also having a kid, one day he might listen to this, might be totally embarrassed and go, oh my God, what did my mum do? That's so cringe.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't and goes, that's wicked, mum. That's so cool,
Yeah.
because that's on the internet always.
Yeah. I see that.
Instead of, oh my God, you've got an OnlyFans and your boobs are out every day. That's really embarrassing. Each their own.
What?
Oh, I'm not against it. You do what you need to do, babe. If I could do it, I would. But this is my way of leaving a legacy, I think. And in the last 2 years, I've learned a fuck ton. And it's been really important. And I felt it was bubbling. And this is my way to let it all out. But
Yeah.
also, I think it's also a way of showing people that you can make solid lifetime friendships with people in times where the world is crashing down behind your ear rolls.
Mhm.
And it just takes one message or one live stream, and you could have fun for life. And that's what we've got. And I'm really bloody proud. So there, rant over. I'm done. I've just ranted a lot. I apologise.
Because I don't want to cry,
Oh
especially
no,
the
no, I'm not
first
crying yet.
podcast.
No, no, no,
You
no,
went
no, no.
from I'm just gonna be open and honest about how I kind of think parasocially a bit more from my perspective and community perspective
Yeah.
and creative perspective,
Mhm.
and then you
Yeah.
went and you made it all sentimental, and I'm like,
Oh, I'm
oh
sorry.
no,
Right. Okay.
I
I think maybe we should
can't.
have a sentimental alarm of like, bitch, stop it, or something
Just
like
light the
that.
screen up cherry blossom pink. That's what.
Yeah. Friday, weekends come
Really
alive,
comes
or
alive.
something. Yeah. Some
Add
cattier
into it.
quote.
Keep the
Yeah.
flow, keep the flow, keep the flow.
I think
No
this episode,
volunteers.
if any, though, is going to be the one where we just get it all out of our system,
Yeah.
get sentimental, and then we're going to have sentimental points, but that's who we are, and I don't give a shit.
Because it's only going to advance the
Quite
connection
frankly,
more. Like, it's only going to be there
exactly.
because, I think we both
Mm.
are creatives, definitely.
Mhm.
I'm definitely in the similar mindset where I,
Mm.
I throw myself kind of toward projects and then I pull back. And then I'll do something else, and I'll throw myself towards something else, and then I'll do something else. And it's much more crafty. Like I like a bit of singing, I like a bit of
Yeah.
crafting, I like decoration in my house. I definitely see myself in the creative.
Huh.
And it gets on people's nerves the way that I think more creative than logic, but I just kind of have learned to accept it, and that's really where I am with it at the
Yeah.
moment, more so than just letting it flow. But if I have a
Yeah.
constant like this where I have a flow with it, then they
Huh.
intermingle and it makes more sense to me, and it just opens up the world more. I talk about open-minded people, but if you can
Huh.
open it more for yourself in the meantime as well, God knows what you're
Yeah.
capable.
Absolutely.
We just got to be
Yeah.
so in it, and
Definitely.
so more embracing these days because we're so
Yeah. Yeah.
consumed and over consumed. And
Mhm.
like, you talk about parasocial, like we're the most parasocial with our relationship with the internet, just in general, since its
Yeah.
beginning. Since
Absolutely.
its
Yeah.
beginning, not even the
Oh,
people
I
on there and
remember
what they're
those
saying and
days.
what they're not saying. It's more
Yeah.
so just the
Absolutely.
consumption and what it
Uh-huh.
can give to us, and it's done too much. It's done too much too fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all know
Yeah.
that. We all know that, and we're
Yeah.
all struggling the worst we've ever struggled with anxiety because of it.
Yeah.
So you need a release, you need an embrace, and if you can inspire that in other people in any way, that's who I want to be, and that's who I see you as a friend to be. So, you know, we need that. We need always need more of that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
oh,
Yeah,
I mean, we know who we are. Trust
absolutely.
and believe,
I think
you know?
as well, it's nice because I hope you feel like this, but I feel completely comfortable making a tit of myself with you because you get my sense of humour, which sometimes can be completely absurd, and really sarcastic, and people probably just think I'm loud and annoying, but I don't care. But also, I think we we are the friends that we know one another is always there
Yeah.
forever. And bless you, you've put up with me in many a shitty situation, and you have been incredible. And you've been through breakups, heartache, shitty situations. God knows what else is going on for more episodes. You've got to tune in to find out what happens. That's more stories.
Yeah.
But also,
We are a reality show. Our lives are a reality show.
it is
So,
reality. And
lock in.
yeah, but also you're very good at bringing me back down to earth sometimes.
Mm.
Like today, I was completely just like, my brain was all over the place because there was so much happening at once. And even just like getting on the phone to you and starting the conversation, I'm just like, oh, right, breathe. And I think we just naturally vibe. But also, the idea that you had about the podcast and having the parasocial room, I thought was like, that's incredible. That is something that I wouldn't have thought of, but it's so correct and it's so right.
It's
So,
so correct. It's so what
yeah,
we are and
absolutely.
what so many people are that they need to embrace more of, I feel, without them getting lost, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, parasocial, for people that aren't quite sure on, because I think parasocial does only really have one meaning that is very broad and can be applied to different things. So, what's your take on on being parasocial, on having a parasocial relationship?
Hmm.
Good question,
Well,
hey?
it is. It is. And I mean, I learned from example, really, when it comes to that,
Mm.
from being part of that stream that we met on and still am today, you know?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
what that means, and getting
Mhm.
too close in that sense and having to pull back, and what, well,
Yeah.
in the first place, what does that closeness means? It
Mhm.
means you take someone that you like from the internet that you never
Mhm.
would have met
Mhm.
in real life,
Yeah.
and you see them for who they are from an observational standpoint, you know, and you don't necessarily have to be, it can be so passive. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be interactive. And the moment
Yeah.
it's interactive, that only snowballs. And it's really up to ourselves and hopefully the communities you are a part of to
Yeah.
make you
Mhm.
see what that is, whether it's
Yeah.
positive or negative for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
So hopefully outright it's initially positive and you're
Uh-huh.
not out there hate watching things, but that's
Yeah.
part of it too.
Absolutely.
People
Yeah.
hate watch, you
Yeah.
know?
It's an aspect, isn't it? I mean, people get joy out of it, which I really don't get because. Oof. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Definitely. It's all about, no, it
Mm.
is about people's temperaments as well. A lot of the time,
Mhm.
like if you leave it to be subjective,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
we're
Exactly.
animals who should have never had screens in our hands anyway,
Oh.
in the first place.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
buttons, realistically,
Oh yeah.
we're just
Buttons.
supposed to use them and leave them
Mate.
as they are. Never mind a screen,
Yeah.
a button. We were
They
never
should
supposed
never
to
have
use a
given us a
button.
button, for fuck's sake. That's just the
What
messy
did we
start of
do?
it.
We
Oh
started with the red
dear.
ones and blowing shit up. That's what we started. That's
Yeah,
what we started with.
big
And
mistake
here we are
right
now. And
there.
we can
Oh, I know. Fucked
we
it.
can just, you know, worse than
Yeah,
Donald Trump throw people off their platform as
yeah.
you know, the notion of sending a
Mhm.
comment that you know will get them
Yeah,
banned, you know?
exactly. I
And that's
mean,
worse because that might be all that they have, you know?
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very interesting. Your definition of parasocial is primarily stemming from the internet.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, probably generational. I really sound old now, but that is definitely, I think that is probably a generational thing, because when I was researching the definition of parasocial and how that could relate to me or different situations in the audience and trying to explain it, I wrote loads of notes down, as I do in my millions of notebooks. But when I was reading the definition of parasocial, the way I could relate to it was it's your reality. So
Yeah.
you're not making it up. It's a reality for you, but also it can start from my earliest parasocial, I'd say, relationship or experience. Right? This is showing my age, kids. A name for you: Jason Donovan.
Mhm.
Jason Donovan was an Australian actor in Neighbours, and he also
Yeah.
sang with Kylie
Who's
Minogue,
in
who
Rocky
is an
Horror
actual
right now,
queen.
by the way, in
Rocky
case you
Horror.
see him anywhere.
Yep, that's another that's a point in my story I'll get to too.
Oh, okay.
Jason Donovan was my first love. I was probably my son's age. I was about 5 or 6, and the song
Aw.
with Kylie, you know the song with Kylie Minogue, especially for
Especially for
you. And then he
you.
had a videotape, and I borrowed that videotape from my friends, and I literally ran it out that it was not in the same condition when I gave it back to her, because I'd rewound it and played it so many times. I believed at that age, and because I had that experience, there was no internet, kids. There was no phones
No,
then. You had to go to
no.
a phone box, boy. Um, and then I believed that I could have Jason Donovan as my boyfriend at 6 years old. So one day I
Yeah,
wrote
that's
him a letter.
parasocial. Mm-hmm.
I wrote him a letter. And I wrote
Oh.
on this letter that I loved him and that I
Oh,
would like to invite him round to my house for tea.
oh my
And that
God, that's
if he
so
just replied
angry.
to let me know, my mum would post a letter for me and just let me know when you're coming round for tea, and then you're my boyfriend and we'll get married. Simple, you know? So I gave the letter to my mum. Did Jason Donovan ever receive that letter? Did he, Paula? Did he receive that letter ever? My
I
love letter, my declaration, my proposal of
would,
marriage at 6 years old to Jason Donovan. Did he ever
and,
receive it? No, my
and,
mum never sent that letter. She
no.
stopped. She stopped what could have been Mrs. Sarah Donovan. She stopped it. She never posted it. And I've never forgiven her. So, cut
Oh.
to Richmond Theatre. Around 2010, 2011, not sure, maybe a bit earlier, later, I'm not sure, a circa time. I was a student and I worked in Richmond Theatre as an usher and bar staff to booze money, basically, when I was on holiday from uni. It was such a wonderful job. Um, I'll talk about it another time, but it was an amazing job. Loved it,
Mm.
met some great people. But also, one day, the show that week, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Mm.
Who was in Rocky Horror Picture Show? It was my long lost husband, Jason Donovan. So I thought, right, well, I walk past the dressing room every single day. I was really, really, really scared, because
Oh my God, he was
they say
there.
don't meet your heroes, right? And I have
Oh,
had experiences where I've met some of my heroes
I'm getting
and they
chills.
turned
I'm
out
getting
to
chills
be
already. I'm
knobheads.
getting chills. Mm-hmm.
So my friend Chris and I, we were giving each other up. I told him the whole shebang story. He thought it was absolutely hilarious. He gave me a program for the show one day and he was like, right, you're going to do it now. Whilst we're in between shows, he's in his dressing room. I've just seen him. He's in his dressing gown in a pair of Ugg boots, right? He's known for just walking around in his dressing gown with a pair of Ugg
Oh,
boots on. Getting hot to think about it.
damn.
So he's like, right, dressing room 6, go. You just got to go now. You've got to do it. It's a lifetime thing. You've got to go. He said, just think about it. It's a normal
God,
bloke. It's just
damn.
Australian. There I go. And I
Oh,
knocked on the door. I literally thought I was going to both throw up and shit myself at the same time. This
no,
is
I couldn't do it.
5-year-old Sarah standing here waiting to meet her husband. Okay? And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And you know that when you're
Oh,
so nervous, you don't know what your body's doing. Am I going to pass
I,
out, throw up, poo myself, wee myself? No idea. Door
oh my
opens.
God.
There he is. Little bit different looking from the especially for you video. The hair's gone a little bit, but in that moment, you know when you have like the cheesy hearts going on the screen, like da 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 da, and I had especially for you playing in my head. And I can't remember if I even spoke English, and I hope I did, and I didn't sound like I was from Venus. But I think I did introduce myself. I told him the whole story. I told him the whole story about how my mum didn't send the letter, and I've been waiting for his response since I was 6 years old, and I was standing there at the age of 21. The man thought it was the cutest slash hilarious thing he's ever heard. And he
Yeah.
said he would have said yes if he'd received the letter. So, Mum, I missed out on having Jason Donovan as a husband. But anyway, yeah, he was amazing. He was really funny. He was so lovely. Gave me a
Mm.
cuddle. Actually had a cup of tea with him later on in the week. He knew me as the love letter girl from then on and kept calling me
Oh,
Wifey. He called me Wifey. All I'd hear, if we check in, he'd go, "Hey, Wifey, you all right?
that's
You all
so
right? Can I
cute.
see you later?" And that's just made my laugh. I'm done. I'm finished. So basically, if either Danny Dyer or Alex Turner proposed, or even just breathed in my direction for more than a minute, I'm alright. I can die happy. I'm done. I'm okay. I'm good.
I can't call. That's so
So
cool.
yeah, that's my so long story short, kids, Parasocial was me, that little girl in her pigtails, rewinding and watching that tape over and over and over again, and actually really having that feeling of, I know him, he knows me. And it's like when you have a series, like when I was younger, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, for example, and
Mm.
you get invested into a series, there's a whole culture, there's a fandom. It's completely different to things now, I think. And there is a time where you get really, really invested and you do have that parasocial relationship and it develops. And I don't know, but I feel like sometimes parasocial can develop into nostalgia.
Yeah.
Um, it has a lot of the time with me. The Jason Donovan thing was just a lost love story, and I'm Mrs. Jason Donovan. But yeah, a lot of the time I think it's when you find a connection and relating to something that makes you feel normal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be dictionary normal. It doesn't have to be medical normal. It can be a normal that you feel normal and you feel happy with.
Yeah.
So it's such an amazing concept to um, look into and actually think about with your own experiences as well. Um,
Mm.
I mean, when you're younger, you have your crushes, don't you? Like it was Jason, and Jason obviously didn't reply, so I had to move on, and it was Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys. He was my husband for a long time. Oh no, wait, sorry. In between Nick Carter was Mark
Which one
Owen.
is he? Nick? Which one
Backstreet
is Nick?
Boys, blonde one.
Oh, okay.
Aaron Carter's brother.
Oh, yeah, I don't know much about him.
Yeah. But like when I
All right.
went to Florida and the Backstreet Boys were like in their heyday, I was
Mm.
actually physically walking down the street thinking I was gonna see Nick Carter. You know? That's probably just weird. But it's like
Well, no,
you
because he's
have
London. You'd never know.
true.
Mm.
Um and I just think, what would it be kind of things like nowadays? And I'm probably gonna sound really old now. But I
Mm-hmm.
have just discovered how brilliant Youngblood is. I'd seen
Mm.
him, I knew of him, didn't really know much of his music. And that, as a muso, I have to give someone my time if I'm gonna start on their art, right?
Have you
This
met them?
guy, I've met Youngblood once,
Nice.
twice. First time I just had a headache and he just pissed me off. Lovely guy. Honestly, I wish I'd keep myself. And then the second time, I think I was just very drunk and he was very drunk and it was quite good fun.
Mm.
Um, I know it was in a pub somewhere, and we were both a bit younger. But
People are
yeah,
going to be like,
and
who is this? Like all these celebrity interactions. Like, come
oh, there's more
on.
stories.
Hello.
I need to just be careful though, so I need to be careful what I say and how I say it about. But most of the stories I can tell. But yeah, no, Youngblood's music, I hadn't really given much time to, and I feel ashamed of myself. But as an example, he's got a wicked fandom, man. They have a great ethos. They have so much kindness for one another,
Hmm.
and that all stems from him and what he writes about. And I think a lot of it's I think there's a lot of parasocial flying around there, but it's a
Mm,
lovely, lovely community and army. They call themselves Youngblood Army.
mm.
Um, and I just think they're amazing. Plus, then I saw a video of your girl Brittany Broski and Youngblood putting pints behind the bar at the Hawley Arms. I was like, eh,
Oh, I
is this
bet
a
she had a
paradox?
blast. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I'd have worked there then. But um, you know, it's trying to look at it now, and I think it's probably a bit more prominent now because of the accessibility of communities is more on demand, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Like,
Oh, definitely. In general, 100%.
yeah,
100%. And
absolutely.
it's so easy to just villainize it and be like, oh, it could be any time, any second in this day. It could be a
Mhm.
mob at any moment, and it's going to
Yeah,
cancel somebody. So why even bother? But it's like, but
yeah.
yeah, when you see so much positivity in one, you're like, yeah, I'll stay for a while. So, and then it can work out for the best, and you
Yeah.
can either,
Mhm.
really enjoy the music and leave it at that, or you can become part of the community as
Mhm.
well, which is another definitely
Yeah.
way of leveling up the parasocial, because
Mhm.
then you have more virtual friends, you have a community of virtual
Mhm.
friends. And in that
Yeah,
stream that we
exactly.
met, there's a certain community there that has been standing,
Mhm.
in there. And yeah, you find them, especially at the middle of the
Mhm.
way sort of creators. I find if you've got millions, you just got people saying, oh haha, this is so
Mhm.
funny, or oh haha, you're great, it's like another great song or whatever. So you don't kind of get as
Yeah.
much from them
Yeah,
unless you
exactly.
have other platforms like Silly Wee
Mhm.
Spooky Boo, who was just doing, the sleepwalking
Oh,
videos. But
yeah, yeah.
she writes as
Mhm.
well. So you're going to have people who are a bit more fluid in how they
Mhm.
speak in their comments, and they're going to want to talk, and they're going to
Mhm.
want to know what's
Mhm.
going on, and they're going to be asking
Mhm.
questions, and they're going to be
Yeah.
nice to each
Yeah.
other as well, and there's going to be community. And then she has a podcast with Call
Yeah.
Me Chris, and she just started that, and just started listening to that, by the way, so I feel a bit
Uh-huh.
more, i'm not abandoning I'm not abandoning other cultures because it's like Canadian
No,
American. It's
no,
not just fully
absolutely.
American
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
just community wide, it's just Chris's community as well, because
Mhm.
she came up during COVID. It's like, yeah, it's like with them just
Yeah.
coming together is like you see that making something, like us coming together here.
Mhm. Mhm.
They made something from their communities being so, in
Yeah.
sync with each other, basically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they just happen to like each other and really, really
Mhm.
be similar and basically almost the same person. So,
Yeah. Absolutely. I
you
like
know,
that's a wonderful way of describing it. Because
yeah,
sometimes I feel not only overwhelmed but slightly lost today because there are so many means and ways of forming an opinion, describing your opinion, watching your opinion, listening to your opinion, writing your opinion. It's like, where do I go and where do I feel comfortable? Because you've got different platforms,
yeah.
you know, for example, like Reddit, for example. I have Reddit. I'm not sure if I like it 2 years down the
It's
line,
horrible. No,
but
like
sometimes it's handy for
there's a whole
research.
like POV culture,
Uh
like
huh.
that creates
Yes.
these people who are just robotic. Like they're so pedantic and particular and
Yes.
overly
Mhm.
specific that they
Yes.
just become the worst, and they
Mhm.
need to like evolve out of
Absolutely.
that stage in their
Yeah.
life. So it
Mhm.
breeds only people who
Mhm.
switch off, to be honest,
Yes.
because well, all the
Absolutely.
answers are online. Why are you even asking me
Yeah.
anything to be a
Absolutely.
human being anymore? Because it's all
Exactly.
there.
It's all these, and then it creates more questions, which creates more confusion and more headaches, and then I just get pissed off and shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Facebook groups, I've never done them apart from selling
No,
stuff on there. Facebook,
no, that's
never,
that's
it was annoying anyway.
no.
And I only use it for business. Side piece. How is that productive? But then again, I'm like, I then had more questions like, is it a football thing? Is it a man thing? And then I was like, this is wasting too much space in my brain that I could be using on other things. But it
So
leads back to,
it's
it's
again
very
advancing the
antisocial.
parasocial. So it's
Uh huh.
basically like football hooligans but online in Facebook
Yeah,
groups.
yeah,
That is
exactly. I
terrifying.
didn't understand the
That's
whole point.
terrifying.
And then,
Yeah.
because you've got the Facebook group, so it's funny how Facebook used to be the thing and now it's just reserved for your Aunt
Old.
Sheila's pictures from Benidorm on it, you know?
Hi
Um,
old. Yeah.
I know. I literally keep it open for business and that's it. And then you have Twitter or X, which I don't use anymore. That is completely
No.
toxic. You might as well go and jump in a vat of battery acid, because
Mm.
it's a nasty place
And
to
you'd,
be.
you'd you'd be more comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you're
exactly. Yeah. I mean,
further away from the law, the
I had
better. Yeah.
no productive conversations or meets or any relationships on Twitter. So that write that one off.
Except for me.
Um, yeah, well, obviously, but
Yeah.
that was YouTube. That YouTube, that's one whole episode in itself. What else have I got? Well, TikTok, that's another episode in itself because
Yeah.
there's a lot going on this app that,
Because it's still around. What's going on there? Like that's
I
worth
mean,
researching, and then
there's
that
a lot of
opens up the
things.
conversation.
Yeah,
You know, what's
100%.
happening
There's a
there?
lot of things on there that I discovered something recently that I'm like, how is this not being exposed everywhere? Because it's a
Mhm.
scam. Anyway, there's stuff going on there that I think TikTok they need to sort that out. Rant for another
Yeah.
episode. TikTok,
I do get
I
a parasocial kick out of, I did for a while anyway. I can sense myself going back to it where, there's a
uh-huh.
guy like literally going after scammers on his
Oh
lives.
yeah, 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 yeah. I love that
Doc
though.
Compton, he's a big enough platform I
Yes,
can shout him out. So
yes,
Doc Compton, I don't know if you
yes.
do, but
You told me about
he's
him. He's
yeah,
amazing.
he's big for it. He's
Shout
big for it. He
out.
still does it.
Hmm.
But he's
If
on
you have,
TikTok the least
yeah,
amount of time that he does it, and he does it every single
yeah,
day. And the fact that
yeah,
he does it, and then TikTok
legend.
is one big giant scam, just the
Uh-huh.
whole
Yeah,
second
absolutely.
oxymoron.
Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah. I
How?
mean, I need to do my research to get my facts straight before we do that episode, but there's some stuff going down on there. And I'm trying to reach out to YouTubers that are doing things on these things and going, hello, this is here. Can you
Mm,
please just, this is ridiculous. And I feel it's disgusting because these creators are on here and you see them dancing in their cars, pretending to be nice, changing their whole personas to suit basically getting money out of women. I'm going
yeah.
to stop there before I allow myself into trouble, but we probably all know who we're talking about here. Um,
Mm,
you know, Bristolians shouting in their car about life experiences.
yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, TikTok's a whole funny one.
The louder they shout, the more of an audience they get. But it's not
Well,
for to
it's
have a
not. It
conversation with
doesn't
them. It's
mean
to
more
see
if you
how loud
shout,
they can get and how much they
isn't it?
get loud about.
I
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a whole episode I've still got to research and discuss with P. This is where we're going to be going all over the shop with this podcast. But Parasocial on TikTok, okay, I have met some wonderful people on there. I mean, including today and yesterday, I've met two clients, but also two wonderful artists that are just in their soul. If anything we talk about any artists or anything, I will link them in the description below. So if you want to, please go and follow Sam, go and listen to his music, go and join him for Morning Coffee. Morning Coffee is like it's like a radio request show,
Yeah.
where you can request songs, and there's a wonderful community that's been building with some wonderful people in there. And if you feel alone, isolated, you just want a bit of company, or you just want to watch and listen to a tall, Geordie beardy boy talking fast for a little while and playing random music from absolutely different genres, but having a laugh, please go and support him, because I can't do anything more than just say that he is worth everybody's time and more. And I'm very, very proud of him.
Hmm.
And, you know, we worked together, and the time that we worked together was magic. And that's all I'll say for now, because otherwise I'm going to start crying, because I cried the other day in my life and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But
No, big up.
I hope
And
he
yeah,
listens to this and knows that he was a big influence on a lot of people, and he's very
yeah.
loved and he's wonderful, and I want to chuck all of, you know, the good wishes and vibes back at him, because he's a wonderful soul that deserves the world.
Mm.
And I'm going to stop there, full stop. But that
And if
probably
you're yeah, if
leads
you're
us
an artist,
near
I
the
just
end
will
as
say there's
well.
the Tuesday as well. If you're an artist and you happen
Yes.
to pick up on whereabouts he
Hmm.
is and
In
where he
South
is on
Shield.
those Tuesdays,
Uh-huh.
he does those consistently.
Hmm.
So
I'll put the
you may
details
want
down
to turn
in the
up and let you
description.
on the mic. Yeah.
Oh, like you turn up and you do your thing, or you turn up and you join in, or you turn up and watch. Like he does live stream most Tuesdays, or every Tuesday he tries to. And again, a wonderful collection of people, whether they're experienced or not. You get some incredible people just rocking up and doing their thing, and I love it. Um, and it's at Chichester Arms in South Shields. I'll put all the links below. Unfortunately, there's no website anymore, but I'll put the websites to Sam and all of his bits and bobs below, because I think there's more than a few. So yeah, I'll do all of
Like,
that.
don't know if you deal with
Links
Linktree.
and
Linktree,
what?
very, very easy to use.
Yeah,
Yeah. We do
I
Linktree
haven't.
for the pod. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I haven't done the pages of the podcast yet, but by the time you guys are on there, it'll be up and sorted. That's my job for the next couple of days, and I can't wait. So, rounding up our first episode, P. Woo, I'm excited now. Hmm. So, every 2 weeks, I think we said at the moment,
Yeah.
we're going to have an episode.
Fortnightly.
And boy, oh boy, we've got a mixed bag, and I cannot wait. For episode 2, hopefully, we should have our founding father of Blossoms. If founding father of Blossoms is not on the next episode, there will be another guest. But if you've stuck around, through my ranting and waffling, thank you so much. Thank you. I promise I'll get slower and better and clearer and consolidate my thoughts. Do you have any final thoughts, Pig?
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining and
Yeah.
listening. And we're excited for more. And
Yeah.
yeah, it won't all be social media
Mm.
bashing on the negative
Mm-hmm.
side of things.
Yes.
Love positive
Mm-hmm.
experiences, plenty of positive to come as well
Mm-hmm.
with
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
and plenty
Mm-hmm.
more about ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
getting to know you, getting to know
Getting to
the internet culture a
know
bit
you.
more, parasocial
Getting to
culture a
know.
bit more, and
Yeah,
here we are.
exactly. So, it's not going to be all fairies and mermaids and sparkles. We're going to get down to nitty gritty in some episodes. Obviously, we'll have trigger warnings where there will be the things, but we are keeping it real, real, real,
Mhm.
real, real. And I can't wait, and this is very exciting. So, join us on all the socials. What's our social handle, P? It's at
At the Parasocial Pod.
Parasocial Room Pod. Yeah, we'll link them all below. You'll see them on your screen now. Click
Yeah.
them all. Follow us on everything. And next episode, it's going to be jam packed, and probably have a jam packed few months actually listening to our voices. Ha ha!
Yes.
You're stuck now because we're teasing you, teasing you, teasing you. Anyway, have a good couple of weeks, and we'll see you in the next one whenever you'll listen. Thank you, everybody, and we'll
Take
see
care.
you next time.